Heidi ho, boys and girls, John Huldt here. It's a glorious but actually raining day in Los Angeles today. I promised that I would do a lesson video on my guitar solo of the hashtag dreamrigsolocontest in case I did well in the competition, and lo and behold, here we are. First I want to thank Misha, Maytab and Nick over at Horizon Devices, all the cats over at Rev, Mayonis, String Drop, Get Good Drums, and I think that's everybody. If I forgot anyone, it's because my brain very poorly functioning. Anyways, without further ado, I'm just going to go through the solo, what my reasoning is, what's going on, and why I'm playing what I'm playing. You're going to notice there's a lot of playing over changes, as it's called. I don't think so much in scales and arpeggios as I think in intervals and chords. So if you're not up to speed on your music theory, this might get a little bit confusing. You can still learn the licks and all that stuff, but unless you understand how intervals relate to a root note, a lot of this will sound like complete gibberish. But good thing is it's pretty easy to learn, so just find a video that explains like harmonies and not harmonies but intervals and stuff, and you'll be in good shape. Anyways, let's get this ball rolling. I'm gonna pull up the chart here. I made it available as a PDF file on the Dropbox link you can find below in the info box. And here's an airplane. How fitting. Anyways, let's look first at what's going on in the track. It's E minor, the first part. Interestingly enough, Propel playing this pattern, if you can hear it, but it's in kind of an E flat, coming down to D. Anyways, it's E minor that goes to a B minor, so that's the first thing that happens. And I like pentatonic stuff, so I tend to fall into that quite a bit. The first lick is pretty easy. Pretty standard kind of bluesy. I add that 9 in there because it's a little double stop action. Just alternate pick. By the way, if you're having problems with your alternate picking, check out Troy Grady's videos. I think they're called Cracking the Code. He's gone full fucking retard into how picking works. And it's actually helped me quite a bit, so thank you, Troy Grady. My picking still sucks though. And here's the first lick, I guess. That's kind of cool. Oops. Bear with me if I play this like shit, by the way. I haven't played it since I recorded the solo and then I haven't thought about it, so. So, what we have, also how this relates to the chord. B minor happened. So you see how I land kind of on a B minor note there. Back to E minor. Land on B minor. On the fifth again. And here's the lick. So in the left hand it's just a B minor 7 arpeggio. It's really beneficial to practice just playing with your left hand. Is really going to make all this tricky stuff easier. And then what I do is I tap with my ring finger on the high E, and then I pull off to my middle finger on that C sharp. So that's basically the lick. And I probably did 2 million takes on this on this solo, so if you don't get it right away, I didn't either. Also, most of these licks I kind of came up with them for this solo, so I'm trying not to fall back on shit already now. So that works well. B minor, the 7 arpeggio. Actually, let's look at that. So that E is actually a 4 or an 11, and the C sharp is actually a 9 or a 2. So by getting these longer extensions into the chords, it sounds more expensive. That's basically what it is. Anyways, let's move on. The next lick starts on bar 6 on your chart. It's just a we're back on E minor. Let me turn my guitar up a little bit. I think I was on that. Just pentatonics. sequenced. Alternate pick the whole thing. It's the same as the first thing you ever learn on the guitar. Same thing. But when I get here, it's still pentatonics mostly, but I've kind of changed the pattern around. What I'm doing is, so I'm sliding down from A to G, and here at chicken picks, I'm going to use my middle finger. So it's all mostly pentatonic stuff, and I just slide and go down the scale on 2 strings. And I think at that point we're landing on the B minor actually. I guess here. Okay, so here's over here. And then we're over B minor again. And here's something like I think is pretty cool. I used to play quite a bit of country music. So I developed a love for open strings. And what this is, and if you're lost in the chart, this would be bar number 9. I play the B on the G string, play an open B, hammer on the 3rd fret, play an open E, hammer on the 1st, pull off, and then back to that D on the B string. And more pentatonics. And if you look at this as a B minor, it outlines the chords. And we get that sexy E note in there. And then we get into jazz land, and what happens in the backing track here, it modulates. If you don't know what modulate means, it changes key. So it modulates into D minor. The chord progression is the same initially, and it's a D minor that goes into an A minor. If you ask, hey John, how do you know what chords there are? It's because I listen and figure it out. I've been transcribing music for a very long time, so you kind of develop a sense for what chord it is, and it's almost like recognizing flavors, or you know, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So it modulates into D minor, and here I go fake jazz. And I actually play this lick leading up to the key change. And this is very common with more advanced players and like jazz dudes. It's like they will anticipate, and also in country music actually, they will anticipate the next chord. Oops, sorry. They will anticipate the next chord and kind of play into it before it happens. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just setting up the key change. Because it creates some tension and release, which is a good thing in music. And I'm also bringing out my best Wes Montgomery thumb. And if you know who that was, he was a jazz dude back in the black and white TV days. Play with his thumb like an absolute monster, because it was something he couldn't practice loud at home, so he couldn't use the picks, so he used his thumb, and he just developed unbelievable skill. Very good guitar player, Wes Montgomery. So when I land on this note, that's where the D happens. So now I'm in D minor, and here's the lick. Be a good idea to clean this up a little bit. If we look at this as D minor, I'm gonna use a lot of like 4th intervals because I think they sound cool. So this is like a C major triad, and this is where it starts getting nerdy. This is called superimposing. So I'm basically superimposing a C over a D minor. And that's a cool sound. I like the sound of a C over a D minor. So when I see D minor, sometimes I play C, like in this case. So what do we have? We have Wes Montgomery thumb, and then also this was done with a much clearer tone. And then I go up to, this is an F major triad, and if we look at F major over a D, it creates a D minor 7 chord. So superimposing is something I do quite a bit. And if you don't know what superimposing is, it's basically just take something and put it over something else. And the example I always use is, say you take an E minor, just the top 3 strings, right? And sounds like a minor chord. It sounds sad, it makes me want to cry. But if I play an E minor over C, you might know this chord. It's a C major 7, right? So if you take an E minor and put a C on top of it, it creates a C major 7. It doesn't sound sad anymore. It sounds kind of expensive. Slightly jazzy. So that is superimposing, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm just taking something and placing it somewhere else and creating a kind of richer sound that way. So, anyways. And an F over a D minor, or over a D, turns into D minor 7. Then I land on this guy at the same time as we land on the A minor in the chord, in the track. And this chord is really just an A minor 7. It looks an awful lot like a C major triad, which it is. C major over A makes an A minor 7, okay? And again, if this hurts your brain, read up a little bit on intervals and superimposing. And here are these kind of cool, it's kind of like a stacked fourth voicing. It's pretty jazzy. I know Herbie Hancock uses it a lot. And it's cool because you can move this around if you want to sound sophisticated. You can move around in the pentatonics scale. So say that we have pentatonics in A. You can use this voicing on all of them. And you sound kind of like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, a sophisticated player. It's all bullshit. At least when I do it. Alright, so to recap that whole section. I know I talked too much. Oops. Sorry. So that's over A. And here I play an E flat triad. However, the chord is this. It's a G sharp, major, 7, sharp 11. So basically this is what you would call a Lydian chord. A Lydian chord is a major chord with a sharp 4 in it. Isn't that from Zelda? Yeah, I think it is. It's the forest in one of the Zelda games for like Nintendo 64, I think. Anyways, Lydian chord, major chord, sharp 4. I'm sure you've heard that too. So this is the chord. So, okay, John, why on God's green earth are you playing an E flat major triad over G sharp? Again, superimposing. What happens? G sharp and E flat. I should really call it D sharp, but now I started calling it D flat, so I'm going to keep calling it D flat. G sharp and E flat are a fifth apart, right? Fifth. So if you play a major chord a fifth up from your roots, you get a major 9 sound, and this is a really nice sound. You hear it on recordings a lot, like to spice up a major chord without changing its function too much. It's a really good way to do it. It sounds really cool. So that is basically what I'm doing. The intervals we're getting, if I'm playing this E flat triad instead, I get a 9, a fifth, and a major 7. So this is just me trying to sound more expensive. So chord lands here, I play this, and it sounds like I know what I'm doing. Okay, and I think it leads into it pretty nicely. So D minor, na, a, na. Part of my shit is singing. Okay. Oh, all right. So they're remodeling neighbor's apartment. So if you hear a drill, that's A flat. You know, you're not crazy, it's because I'm doing that. Anyways, so that's why I'm playing an E flat over G sharp. It creates a major 9 sound. And I like that sound. And I feel like since I'm coming out of kind of jazzy vocabulary, I can't just go back into stupid rock guitar player. Okay? So I feel like I should continue being sophisticated. And here's the lick that happens after it. If we look at this, oops, where would G sharp? G sharp right here. Actually, it kind of looks a whole lot like this. So what is that? That's a G minor 7. And this will probably really bake your noodle. If I play a... How should I explain this? If I play a... say I have a Lydian chord, like I do, a nice Lydian chord. If I play the pentatonic scale a half step below, I get all the cool notes. I get the major 7, I get the 9, I get the major 3rd, I get the sharp 4, and I get the 6. And that's pretty much all the higher paying notes. So, since I'm on a G sharp Lydian chord, first I play an E flat, what? And then I play a G minor 7 arpeggio. If I sing this up, it sounds really expensive and kind of lush. It also sounds, to me, it sounds like I'm playing next to the chord, which I really am. Instead of playing, which I could, I'm going, or to create that kind of denser sound. And the next lick that happens, let me just, we are halfway into bar number 12. We're already 15 minutes in. Jesus, it's gonna be a long video. What I'm doing is this. And this is nothing more than G minor pentatonics. Kind of how Guthrie Govan would play it. He doesn't do it exactly like this. So I'm just playing 3 notes per string in a pentatonic and tap the last note. Okay? It's exactly the same thing as this. Okay, and same thing here. It's G minor pentatonics over a G sharp Lydian chord. Okay, had I been smart, had I been smart like David Walliman, I would have had a drone on my keyboard. But I'm not that smart. That's why he has 100,000 subs and I have 2,000 subs. Anyways. So that explains the whole approach to Lydian, right? So instead of just like playing the Lydian scale, I play a bunch of superimposed stuff. Then I bend up to the G sharp, and the track lands on a B chord, leading it back into E minor, and I'm just hitting a bend up to B. So pretty easy stuff. Then we're in blues land again, because balance is important. And after all this technical shit and all this superimposing stuff, it feels like let's bring it back to something that the ear can kind of relate to. And this is like one of the problems I have with modern jazz. They never come back to something my ear understands, so I don't want to listen to it. But, draw it back, center the ear a little bit. So we're back over E minor. Not too much to say about that. And then we have a pretty cool tapping lick. And again, E minor. I land on that 5th and the B minor again. Sounds very B minor-y. Here's the tapping lick. I'm gonna tap, excuse me. I'm gonna tap 17 and 19 on B and E, so that's an E and a B. And these are just mostly pentatonic notes, except for that 9 right there. Sounds pretty cool, right? And then what I do, check this out. Oops. So the first one sounds kind of sad and minor-y, right? The second one sounds kind of happy. Sounds a lot like a D chord. And here's what I'm doing. I'm establishing a pattern and a melody kind of thing, and then I move it down to D major, but the chord is B minor. And again, like we were talking about before, if I superimpose a D major over a B, I get a B minor 7 kind of sound. So D over B turns into B minor 7. So this whole thing, even though by itself it sounds major, now it sounds like minor. Cool, awesome, everybody's cool. And then it flips around because, of course, the backing track modulates in the middle of it, back to D minor. So the whole part would be this. And that's where D minor happens. Seems reasonable that I stop on an A note, because A would be the fifth in a D, right? So what this is pretty cool. I'm basically tapping an A minor. More superimposing. I feel bad for you. If you're watching this, I sort of feel bad for you. I'm superimposing an A minor pentatonic. Alright, here's another theory lesson for you. If you play it in D minor, playing the pentatonic a fifth up gives you a lot of cool notes. You get the fifth, 7, root, 9, and the 4, or 11. Same thing, okay? And this is something I also use a lot, like I will not play, if it's D minor, I will not play D minor, I will play A minor. So, and here I'm actually doing both. I'm tapping A minor with a string skip in between. Here I tap D minor. Okay. Oops. Okay. And because Misha is Misha, it's not like the chords change on the downbeat to 1 of each bar. Because why would they? So in the middle of this, it moves to A minor. So I just reverse the thing and I tap E minor, which is a fifth away. And oops, I messed that up. Let me play the whole thing. Actually, it doesn't go that far. Oops. That's where it switches. And then do this, I think. Now, what am I doing? Oh, hold on. That's what it is. I hold this tap note when the G sharp happens, because that is the sharp 4. So I'm sort of establishing that sound right off the bat. We are now in bar 20, and here's another lick. This is very Frankenbally. More superimposing. Fun. So this is a kind of sweep picking pattern. And what it is a major 9 arpeggio. And I go up, down, 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 up. Up, down, 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 up. Well, since it kind of, once you get it, it rolls off the fingers pretty nicely. And then I feel bad for you people. I superimpose an E flat major 9 arpeggio. Because we're on that Lydian chord, remember? Remember how I played a E flat earlier? This is the same thing, I'm just taking it a couple more steps. So this is an E flat major 9 arpeggio, okay? So I'm playing E flat major 9 over G sharp major 7 sharp 11. Confused yet? Let me show you the cool notes. 6, root, 9, sharp 11. I like that sound. Oops. What the hell are you? I guess you're in there 6. Okay, so. Okay, so what's going on here? That seems an awful lot like a C minor 7. Okay, so what does C minor 7 have to do with G sharp Lydian? Well, if you have a major chord, any major chord, and you play a minor pentatonic, a third up, you get a really nice sound. If I play C minor pentatonic here, I get the major third, perfect fifth, 6, major 7, and a 9. Okay, so that's why I'm playing a C minor 7 arpeggio over a G sharp Lydian. And the next one, what? That looks an awful lot like a G minor 7. Okay, so why am I playing a G minor? Okay, it's the same thing actually as we did before. Remember how you can, in a Lydian chord, play a pentatonic to have step below. Pentatonics closely related to the minor 7 chord. That's why if I play a G minor arpeggio, G minor 7, I get all those cool notes. So the whole lick is this. I guess it's starting to make sense why I put up a video on how to solo over this thing, because you can get pretty deep into it. Not too much to say about that. I'm landing on sharp 4, starting on 9, landing on the major 7. Oh boy. And then the chord, or the track, changes quite a bit. From here it goes into B minor, B, what am I doing? It goes to B major, I think it goes to B major 7, to D major 7, to G, and then it's a B flat. So, and of course these chords have nothing to do with each other diatonically either. It's a lot of borrowing from the relative minor and shit like that. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing to it. So it starts off on B, and here it's major. Well, let's establish in the solo this major. Let's play something melodic. And here, that's kind of like an Eastern, almost Indian bend thing. You hear sitar players do it a lot. You know, let's show you. This is where the chord changes, lands on D. Conveniently place myself on an F sharp, which is the major third of a D chord. And since I've established kind of a melodic figure here, I'm just going to keep going. It's very similar to the first part, right? And here I land on G, and here I do some acrobatics. And if you feel this figure is kind of long and weird, it's because I had to fill up enough notes for the next chord to happen. And again, the chords land in really, really weird spots here. Thank you, Misha. If you've heard Periphery, you I guess you get it. And also, this whole track is in 4/4, just like Rolling Stones or AC/DC, whatever. It's just there's a lot of really strong downbeats on 4, or on the next chord, and then have on 1 and stuff like that. So it feels like, well, this is kind of weird odd meter, but it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 the whole way through. So this lick, okay, so it looks like a G major, right? More major, kind of major ninth stuff. And then we land on a B flat, and it's a B flat Lydian, very much like the G sharp was a Lydian chord before. So major chord with a sharp 4 in it. Here's the lick. And this is really loose time-wise. It's written as a group of, 2 groups of septuplets, that's 16th notes in 7, and 1 quintuplet, which is a group of 5. It's not that exact. I'm basically just like trying to start in the right spot, end in the right spot, and if I can do those in time, whatever comes in between comes in between. So, I think with B flat, excuse me, we have, okay, so here's the start of my Lydian note, the sharp 4, and then I slide down, and then I just repeat that pattern, and I slide out, okay? The next part is kind of the trickier part of this song, because timing wise it's really weird, and playing wise it's also sort of weird. Not that part, that part's pretty easy. We're back to B major. Oops, sorry, it's not a 7 chord. I think it's an and here's the pattern. Basically what I'm doing is, so I'm muting the shit out of it. It's kind of like AC/DC, right? And then I pick it twice. And once you start getting the kind of hold of this, a lot of distortion really helps. Then I'm basically just moving this around, trying to mimic what the chord is and change when the chord happens. And the rhythm of how this is written isn't entirely accurate either, because I honestly don't know how I write it out. I feel like I'm more of like I have a pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 notes and I feel like I'm placed almost as triplets over this. So it's 6/3. I don't know. Steve, I would know. I don't. I'm not educated enough to understand understand this particular thing. That's what I do with the D. Chord changes to a D. So look at the D, major third, perfect fifth, and then it goes to G. So G, major third. It's like any G arpeggio. And then that lands, and I move up here. And then the E happens, and we're out of this whole thing. This is bar 29. So it's just this E major arpeggio. Okay. Alright, let's see what else happens. More 16ths. Oh yeah, there's a tapping lick that happens here. Okay. So this is pretty cool. This is very Beethoven-esque. I highly recommend you check out Dr. Viasi's Beethoven's, it's the third movement of the Moonlight Sonata, where he really plays the shit out of this stuff. Tina G had a viral video playing his arrangement, but I highly recommend checking out Dr. Viasi, because absolutely murders it. Also, very nice guy. My Italian buddy. Anyways, so here's what it is. So we're back over B. This is surprisingly easy once you get the hang of it. Hammer out of nowhere, as Greg Howe would call it. Hammer out of nowhere, hammer, and then tap. And then hammer out of nowhere again. That's it. It's really not that hard. The hardest thing is really muting the other strings, I think. Oops. How long is this lick? It's only to there. Next chord is a D, as played in chart. And here I'm doing a kind of cool thing. I don't know if it was a mistake when I recorded it, but it sounded cool, so I kept it. So instead of playing the third here, I played the fourth. Shit. Okay. And then what chord are we over? We're over G again. And here's a lick I stole from Kiko Loureiro in Angra tune many years ago. He didn't really do. I think he did it over an A minor. What am I doing? But I digress. The pattern is this. It's pretty easy actually. It sounds way cooler than it is to play, or hard to play. I'm gonna hammer, tap, pull off. Okay. One of those things you can make it sound pretty cool pretty quick. And what I'm doing here is the chord is a G. Am I gonna play a G? Of course not. I'm gonna play something completely different. Let's take a look at the left hand first. I'm doing this. Well, that looks an awful lot like an E minor triad, and it is. If we have a G chord and play an E minor triad, I get the G becomes a major 6 chord. We get a root, major third, and that's 6. So it's just kind of cooler. And am I gonna tap a G? Of course not. I'm gonna tap a B minor. So I have a G chord. I'm playing an E minor in this hand, and I'm playing a B minor in this hand. Because again, if we have a major chord and play minor pentatonic, a major third up, we get a nice fancy sound. It's kind of expensive and it's not so predictable. So, utilizing the pattern dung danka, okay, I'm gonna play E minor here. And I had to sequence it because I had to fill the bar up because everything lands in odd places here. And then I'm gonna tap a B minor arpeggio here. And just follow the sequence, okay? So the whole lick would be this. kick, right? Stuff like that. The B Lydian thing happens again, and this is probably the only time in solo where I'm actually playing something sensible over it. And this is written as a bunch of 5/3s. It's just because I didn't know how to what the actual rhythm is, and this fit the bar. So don't worry so much about it. Again, it's more about starting on the right spot and ending on the right spot and cramming as many notes as you can in between. It's pretty easy. I start with the classic Yngwie. That Yngwie in turn stole from Paganini. And I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I think I'm doing this. Something like that. Yeah, whatever happens there. This is just flappy fingers. And if we look at this, it's just a B flat Lydian scale. Or F major Ionian, if you'd rather look at it like that. I wouldn't. Yeah, something like that. We're back over B. And after all that fucking noodling, I felt it was time to, again, kind of reposition the ear to something a little more listenable. So that's it. If you look at B, it's just a 5th to 3rd. And here's another cool thing, I think. As it goes to D, like these chords, every chord except the B chord is kind of parent to, or diatonic to B minor. And I think I mentioned this in my How to Solo Read video. If you just get out of the first chord as a major chord, you can basically use B minor over the rest of this progression. So that's kind of what I'm doing. After I get, which is for the first chord minor, and then it lands on the D, I'm just going to play B minor pentatonic. And I'm doing something Nuno Bettencourt always does. Well, a lot of Nuno's playing, it sounds like he's always this far away from a pinch harmonic. So it's sort of pinch, but it's sort of not. It's not like a Zakk Wylde super pinch. So I'm getting like half note, half pinch harmonic. Next lick is also blues lick. Just more, and I think that lands over the G. It does. And then there's one more lick that's fast, and that's we're back over E major here. And this gave me more grief than anything else. And it's all freaking solo. If we look at an E major, okay. I'm tapping the flat 7 and the root, so I'm hammering major 3rd to 5th. Okay, that repeats the octave up, so 2 strings up. And here I'm hitting the 5th and the 6th. A, it's easier, and B, it sounds cool. It gives it more color. And then you just bend for all that you have. And that, my friends, is it. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Please subscribe. And again, thank you so much to everybody that participated in this competition and granted me the win. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best. So, cool. See you next time.